Hey YouTube, welcome back. So this is going to be the second part to the first part of the gossip, where I was just touching on some of the drama and catching up on what's been going on since my absence. Okay, so I talked a bit about the RDA. I know to a lot of people they're very controversial, and there's a lot of people heavily against them, a lot of people for them. All right, then we're going to move on to the MGL and the whole drama with that. Right. She goes off to Tennessee, takes off there with what's her name, JLR, Jonathan Lee Riches, and Andra. Okay, and then there's another girl, Olivia. Benny Keys is already there. It was a whole big thing. You have to see it. It was. I found it hilarious. All right, I don't take this seriously. Them particularly with the drama. I mean, Molly and her drama, her behavior and the way she treats people and victims of crimes, that sets me off. Things like that set me off. Mistreatment of people, racism, abuse, pedos, that kind of shit sets me off. And the way that she's treating that family, the way that she just assumes she is entitled to throw her weight around, dictate A, B, and C, and then that other girl, Andra, is twisting what the TBI is saying. They are saying there are three options: abduction, foul play, wandered off. Okay, they haven't found any evidence that she was abducted. Do you know how many kids they don't find evidence of that were abducted, that they just disappear? Right? If a kid's playing somewhere or walking somewhere, and a predator sneaks up and lifts the kid and takes off, what evidence really are they going to leave her? What evidence are they going to leave around? It's like when someone's been taken, like even an adult, right? And the handbag's there, the mobile phone's there, the keys are in the ignition, say, and the person's disappeared. The car's left unlocked, and they've disappeared. And then they find out they were abducted and murdered, but there was no trace in the car because they were just bloody dragged out. There was nowhere to leave a trace. There was nothing. So many children go missing and leave absolutely no trace of evidence behind. I remember recently hearing about the Adam Walsh case, right? Because people are saying now, a couple of them are saying, as if somebody can just be in the vicinity of Summer being on her own outside, as if that time there's just going to be a predator there, that perfect time to snatch that kid, right? I have never, do these people know true crime at all? Adam Walsh, that little kid that was playing in that Sears store in America, he was playing with a couple of other kids, and they ended up all getting shifted out of the store because, I don't know, they were being too loud, noisy, whatever. They were playing on some gaming device, and the security guard hushed them all out of the store, hushed little Adam Walsh out there with them, thinking he was with those kids when he wasn't. His mother was at the other side of the store looking at lamps or something, right? So he gets hoofed out of this store. The other little kids take off to wherever they're going, and at that perfect time, a killer was driving past, picked little Adam up, kidnapped him, and he disappeared. And then, you know, there was all the later evidence and things that found with his head, and that was believed to be Adam's. I mean, it was horrific, right? Holly and Jessica, I can't remember their last names, but they were two young girls in the UK. They were abducted and murdered. They were enticed into a house. They went into the house. This guy wasn't a stranger to them. He was the caretaker at their primary school. They went in, right, because they thought he was a cool guy. He ends up doing whatever he did, killed him, and I think he even tried to set them on fire. Okay, there was no trace of Holly and Jessica. They were walking to the shop, right? They get enticed into a house. They go in the house, and they're never seen again alive. There was no evidence left on the pavement of anything. You don't leave footprints on a pavement. You don't really leave DNA on a pavement. You're just walking, okay? You're just walking to the shop. I mean, how many women have been walking home on their own, right? And a serial killer or a rapist has been... How many crimes are crimes of opportunity? So many, loads. Abductions, a lot of kidnappings for children, sexual abuse, where they're abused, taken by a fucking pervert and they're abused. They're crimes of opportunity. A lot of the time, they're not necessarily planned. You're more intelligent and high IQ cunningness of your psychopaths or sadists. They do tend to plan more and stalk victims and watch them, and they plan with great detail, down to the finest detail. But a lot of your run-of-the-mill predators, your narcissists and your sociopaths, they often are crimes of opportunity. The same with Jamie Bulger. His mum was in the butcher's inside a superstore, like a shopping centre complex, okay? She goes into the butcher's, she had hold of his hand, she let go of his hand to pay. He wandered outside the butcher's, and at that perfect time, two young boys, Robert Thompson and what's the freaking other one? I can't think of the other one. Those two boys were walking past because they were skiving off school, and at that perfect time, as that little Jamie Bulger came out of the butcher's, right, those two little boys were walking past. John Venables, that's it, John Venables and Robert Thompson. They were walking past, and they saw this little boy outside the butcher's store, just stood around, and they enticed him off, took him off, right? And if it weren't for the CCTV cameras, they wouldn't have even seen that much. Again, they didn't leave any evidence that they were there or they were the ones that took the boy in this supermarket. There was no DNA traces or items of, you know, that someone's dropped something, so you know that this is the way that they must have gone because this item belongs to them. There was none of that shit, right? So when they keep saying there's no evidence to prove that Summer Wells was abducted, that doesn't mean she wasn't. It still doesn't mean it, okay? I do agree with keeping the parents as suspects, definitely. They have the profile of somebody that could do something, okay? That's just the honest truth. But it's the timing, and it's her alibi, the way that she says that day went, okay? I wonder possibly if somebody was in the house robbing them, right? They'd sneaked into the house, seen that Candice had gone out. Someone could have possibly been in the house at that time. They heard Candice coming back, so they tried to hide, went downstairs into the basement bit, okay? They all come in, they're doing what they're doing, and then Summer gets sent down to the basement, or she decides she's going down to the basement. And maybe they were down there waiting. And I believe there is a door. That's a exit door to get out of the basement down there. I can't remember, but I do wonder if someone was waiting, lying in wait. Maybe someone was scoping out the property too, take something, revenge, they owe money, whatever, okay. And maybe someone saw them and put their hand over the mouth and rushed her off, so she couldn't say this man was hiding in the bush or hiding behind there, or I saw this man, okay? He takes her off. There wouldn't be any evidence of it if he just scooped her up and took off. I do think you still have to be open to the possibility that maybe she was abducted. I am not a police officer, I'm not a detective, I'm definitely not a PI, I'm nobody even half equipped to even cover a case like this, to come up with scenarios and all that shit and possibilities. I'm just saying and just having an opinion on it. I think it's insane the way that they are treating the family. They have this plan now that they're going to try and pressure the police to charge Don with these offences that he has been charged for, and he's got caught in February apparently, you know, to find out what his his punishment will be, his sentencing. And they're going to push for him to be sentenced, and while he's inside, they're hoping that Candice will crack. But they're telling the plan to the whole internet, right? So now Candice knows that that's what they're hoping will happen, so she can prepare mentally now. Hang on, what if Don does get sent down? What am I going to do? These guys think I've done it, so they're hoping that I'm going to break with the pressure and the stress. And the fuck? This is what it is with narcissistic personalities. They can't keep secrets. They can't hold stuff in. They can't just do things on the DL, right? Everything's like grandstanding about it. They're all always posturing. This is what we're going to do, and that, you know, it's all about fucking fluffing up all the feathers like a peacock, like being grand about it and having to let everyone know, because they need the bloody feedback, the attention and the applause and the praise constantly, right? This is what we're going to do. And I'm just like, you've just told them what you hope to happen in the plan. So she can now, right, because she has got a brain, she can now plan around what you're hoping is going to happen to her. You idiots, right? Why not just keep it quiet? But they can't keep anything quiet. They can't keep anything quiet. Right, 1 second, my daughter's here. I'm back. Right, so I've been watching Benny Keys and how he's been handling these clout chasing tragedy pimps, and it has been hilarious. It has been absolutely fucking hilarious. I can't even tell you, okay? He comes running down this hill because they show up at Ben Hill Road, okay? Candice and Don's home. They're right there. And Benny's coming running down this hill, shouting all kinds of shit, get the bear spray and all this stuff. There's a bit of a standoff, okay? Because prior to that, what we don't actually see at this point in time is that MGL has been egging Benny on to come and have a do with a physical bloody fisticuff type thing, egging him on. Then when they're in front of each other, she's there daring him to touch her and trying to goad him and push him. I mean, what kind of rational, calm, healthy-minded woman in this day and age is trying to egg on a man to go for her or hit her physically in order to prove some kind of point? Or like for what purpose? The only purpose is fucking grandstanding and posturing. But like, why would a rational woman want to goad or push a man that is being aggressive in his speech, okay, to hit you? Like, what kind of mentality is that? That's a toxic mentality. So she's on the phone to him prior to this standoff, okay? Cameras everywhere. It's all filmed and recorded. So she's in this bedroom raging like a nut job into this phone to Benny Keys, going absolutely off her rocker. And you're just like, what the absolute fuck is going on? What is going on? There is a missing child, right? And this entire fucking case is a circus. You've got these stalkers stalking this horror of a story of this missing child that's had a horrific home life by all accounts, okay? There's generational trauma and abuse on both sides, maternal and paternal family, right? Horrific abuse. Going back to the grandmother and her childhood, horrific tales of abuse throughout this family, generational, narcissistic abuse, right? And this is now, to some degree, being passed down to the children. The DV, the fighting, the arguing in front of the kids, the police having to come to the house, the being too drunk and incapable of fucking functioning. You know, CPS has been involved before. I mean, it's just like, there's nothing about this story that you want to glob onto and fucking humiliate and try and publicly destroy these people, right? I don't think that, like, if they've done something to their child, right, they deserve every fucking thing that the law throws at them, right? And everything that the public has to say about it. If they've done something to their child, they deserve all of it. I'm not saying that, right? But when you are looking at this family and you know that there's this generational abuse, I mean, there is nothing about it that just makes you, I mean, it's just incredibly sad, right? Because the generational trauma that was going on in their life was going on in my life, right? I'm no contact from my family. I don't know a person in real life that hasn't got a traumatic or abusive childhood, right? Heavy trauma there, raised by narcissists or raised by abusers. I mean, you ask the question, to anybody, have you got trauma in your childhood? And but it's like, who hasn't, right? It's because it's rare that you meet someone that says to you, yeah, I had terrific parents. They were healthy, solid, stable parents on the ball and raised us well. It's rare you hear that kind of a story. So I look at those two, Candice and Don, and God, the tragedy of it all just hits you in the face. It's just like, it was never going to be any different, was it? From the way that Don was raised when he was little, the stories that have come out that Mary's told, his stepsister, right? And the stuff that he's disclosed, right? And the things that I've heard about the father of this family, and then the things that I've heard about Mary's mother, right? I mean, because, oh God, I mean, the essay abuse and the ignoring of it, because I think Mary in her account did tell her mum, sorry, trigger warning, this gets dark now all of a sudden. So there's SA throughout this family tree. There's terrible abuse. I don't see anything about it to want to fucking glorify or push someone further lower down than they already are, right? They were never ever going to be any different, were they? Because that is what abuse does to you. It raises you up to be a fucking codependent fuck up, right? Where you allow other people to abuse you throughout your life till you wake up to it all, right? So you have this awakening, which takes ages because you're so conditioned that it's normal, right? No, it doesn't feel normal, but you're conditioned that all this fuckery is normal. I mean, it's just sad. There's nothing about it to make into a circus. If they haven't done anything to their child, this just makes all of this all the more worse and cruel, if you ask me. Like, would you not prefer to proceed with caution and keep your options open that they might not have done something to Summer? I mean, there is that option. I have suspected her from the off, right? Before she ever even opened her mouth. I'll tell you when I suspected her, when he came out to the cameras with his son, the oldest son, Josie, right? That's when I started to suspect her. So, but I'm not going around. I am not going around targeting them, and I'm just going to let the police do the job, right? I know a lot of police are just a disaster, right? They're jokers, okay? They're just fucking... Some police officers, they are scumbags. They're there for the power, the uniform. They're there because they need that. They need to feel like they're in control of other people and they're higher up, looked up to than other people, than ordinary people. But a lot of coppers are really good, brilliant coppers. And I do trust, especially when I hear that detective, that blonde one, she was on a few press conferences early on when Summer first went missing. I don't know, I get a good vibe from her. I trust that her and her officers are doing their best to try and figure out what did happen to Summer. But kids get whisked away. I was walking down the street with my daughter the other day, right, and there was this tiny little kid walking to the shop, and I said to her, God, have you seen that little boy? He's just completely on his own, right? So I'm looking around for an adult, and there's no one there, and he's on the opposite side of the road to me, and I said to her, because I walk her to the bus stop and meet her when she gets off the bus, right? Call me paranoid, but these fuckers that are taking our kids, they're typically crimes of opportunity. They see someone on the road, there's no one about, and they take that opportunity, and that's that. It's too late to say I shouldn't have let her walk there on her own or this, whatever, right? So for me, I'm trying to cover my bases as a parent to keep my child safe, because this is one prolific pandemic that is going on with kids going missing. So we're walking down and there's this little boy, and I said to her, right, if freak was driving past right now, all they would, and we went on this road, all they would have to do is pull up along the side of that kid, ask him has he seen a puppy or a dog or whatever, and haul him in the car. There would be no evidence of no trace of where that kid gone, because there was no one else on the street, right? That is how easy it would be. And I know Summer's home is very dense. It's very, like, you know, it's all up and down, hills, rocky. The terrain is not ideal if you're just going to be snatching a kid, but it doesn't mean that someone wasn't lying in wait or someone wasn't watching them from the internet, because she posted a lot of a kid. And it's terrifying how many predators and pedophiles are actually in that area around there. There's a lot of them, right? And obviously the father himself has got an SA history. If you believe the sister, the stepsisters, the mother, I mean, the stories that have come out about her mothering, they're anything but great. So there is that possibility that something was done to her within her own home. She had a lot of people around her that were monsters, in my humble opinion, and it's a fucking miracle any of them made it to the ages that they made it, if you ask me. I mean, there were so many dangerous people around them. Terrifying. No place for a child. Anyway, so they're turning it all into a circus, and while you can laugh at their fuckery, because I mean it is laughable. It's like, have you ever seen the Carry On programs, the Carry On shows, or like Laurel and Hardy? That's what it reminds me of, right? They think that they're going to solve this case. They're telling people to get off your arse. You're all sitting at home. Blah, blah. Like, why do they think loads of us don't do this kind of thing? To be a humanitarian, to be an activist, right, you do need to have funds. For me, now that I'm sick and I'm on a fixed income, I don't have the funds to just take off. I want to go to the Yemen, right? I need 5k to be able to go, okay? Money to distribute, buy aid with. That's the requirement to be able to go. You've got to have certain requirements, right? And you've got to be able to raise 5k to be able to go, and that'll be distributed while you're there. So, but I'm not working, I'm not doing anything, right? I'm not well. I haven't got the energy to even come up with all these different variations of ideas to try and even raise 5k so that I could go, right? But that is where my heart would be, out there somewhere. I mean, those people are starving to death, right? Bloated stomachs, they are starving to death, those children and people over there. It is horrific. So when they're saying, oh, you know, all these other people are sitting on their asses, like, fucking donate to me then, so I can go off. Because like you lot have kept saying, if you don't get the donations, you won't be going anywhere, right? But the way they're so arrogant, they are just so arrogant, the way they're going about all of it. Like, any criticism, they say that, oh, well, you don't want us to find summer. So you criticize any of their behavior. This is what it is with narcissistic behavior, okay? Nothing's ever just as it is. You can't just critique their behavior and say, you know what, I think you're out of order, the way that you're behaving and the way that you're treating the family. You could be more respectful. You could leave all this nasty shit out and continue what you're doing, right? The idea of what they're doing isn't a bad idea, okay? It's the way they're going about it. The bullshit, shitty attitude, the cockiness, the arrogance, the entitlement, right? The know-it-all behaviour, like they know everything, like they've been doing this for like 20 years and they're professionals, and all the rest of us are just idiots. It's that side of it. It's just that side of it. If they got on with this respectfully and professionally, I'd have less negative shit to say for a start. But you critique them, and in their minds, you just don't want us to find summer. You just don't want us to find summer. What are you doing to help find summer? Well, I'm in the fucking UK, love, right? I share more posts on my community posts for American kids going missing than I do UK kids. Don't fucking start with me what I'm doing, right? So you say something else about how they're going about it, and you're called a Donwell sympathiser. Because there's accusations allegedly against Don for SA, they say that you're supporting a bloody SA offender. So there's no, you're either for them or against them, end of, right? I do think the idea of what they're doing, I wish they could do it for all missing kids. Obviously they can't, but you know, like, these kids go missing and you never ever find out what happened to them, and I just think it's horrific. It's horrific. I don't know how those parents that have to live with never knowing what happened, fucking hell. I do not want to be in that club. I do not want to be in that club. So the idea of what they're doing, I don't have a problem with it. You know, rattling the police a bit, giving them a bit of a kick up the arse, trying to get Summer's name out there. there's no harm, but it's just the way they go about it. It's not for the kids, it's for them. It's the whole fucking circus of it. There's drama every day with them, fighting, screaming and shouting, calling someone out, like kicking off a load of shit, right? You're just like, what the fuck? I mean, it's just a mess. It's just a mess, all right? Just fucking poor Summer, just God willing they find her, all right? God willing they find her, and I hope the parents didn't have anything to do with it. Right, so what else is there to talk about? Oh, Diane's back. She's back with a vengeance, okay? She pretty much said, I was getting the money for, I was getting like $30 a month for Super Chat when I first started this, and then it became more money, and I couldn't send that more money to St. Jude, so I, began keeping it. That's pretty much what she said. That's how I understood it. It was $30. It was only small amounts at first when I started my challenge, started getting Super Chats. Then the money went up. So because the money went up, I decided I was going to keep it. All right. What? All right. So you were going to keep it, but you're just going to keep telling everybody you sent it to St. Jude. Well, I'm not getting over that. I'm not getting past that point, because now they keep saying for the last year, she said that it's her money, right? But they still had the thing going across saying all Super Chats go to St. Jude. They still kept telling their audience Super Chats go to St. Jude. They kept verbalizing it. It's on fucking recordings, right? So please don't try and gaslight me. It never happened. They had people writing on the Super Chats for the kids, solid patterns, hundreds and hundreds of Super Chats specifically saying that. So don't start with me that for the last fucking year, she said it was her money, right? Rock the fuck on with that. Fuck off, okay? I'm not having that. So, okay then, right? But if you want to go with that theory, let's go with it. Okay, so we'll ignore the last year of Super Chats when she was saying it's my money. What about the year before then? How about having receipts for that whole entire year? No, they won't show up, will they? They won't show up, because we're sticking to this story now. She never did anything wrong. It was her money in the first place, and the only thing she did was mislead people, right? Totally minimized it, normalized it, like it never happened. So it's like an alternate reality. You're like, what? Did this happen? It happened. But how come they're saying it like that? Like, that's not how it was. So anyway, she's back. There was some woman on the panel they had that was scamming everybody. I mean, it drives me nuts. I hate, like, nobody will listen to watching out for specific red flags. Nobody will listen about people that come on and start triggering your empathy, how much of a huge red flag it is when if someone starts telling you something and you start feeling something, there's your red flag. You need to question, why are you feeling like this, right? Where is this going and what is this leading to? We need to be more aware of the emotions other people are inducing onto us, right? Because a lot of the time you were being manipulated to feel a certain way, especially in streams, especially like streams where they're getting you stirred up to hate the opposition. People need a release for all that emotion, and they hit the Super Chat. And a lot of the time, some of these chats are, in my humble opinion, stirred up with that specific point in mind, so that you hit the Super Chat, donate money, or you hear the sob story, you donate money, and you're just being manipulated. A covert narcissist, if they're good, you will not spot them. You won't have a clue. That's the point, all right? So you need to get smarter in your looking, but nobody wants to do that. So anyway, this woman comes on. I saw Burnt Toasted wrote in the chat, something about checking this story out, or something was off, okay? She basically got played down. The whole chat, I think I did a post on it, the whole chat just set me off. And then Burnt Toast revealed to them how she uncovered that this was a con. But God, it was so strange. I can't remember what she wrote in the thing, because I didn't see it live, but it was, everybody else was for this person, and Burnt Toast was the only person saying no. And I was watching the replay thinking, what the fuck, right? This woman is a manipulator. She's lying to you. And I'd watched and heard this other woman in the chat keep saying something in Molly's chat. I can't even remember, but I remember fucking seeing it and being alarmed. Someone was writing something, and then someone was on the panel. I didn't record it, but and it's all patchy what I remember. So anyway, she tried to tell them. She got pretty much ignored and downplayed. And it turned out this woman was a scammer. Burnt Toast was right, okay? So there was that. It's just like, but people don't care, right? Do you know that toxic optimism or like toxic positivity where everybody has to see something in a good way, even when it's been something bad, right? Oh, well, let's look for the silver lining. Let's not, all right? This was a shitty experience. Maybe I'll grow from it in time, but for right now, it's just a shitty experience. I don't want to look on the bright side of it, right? I'm pissed off at this shitty experience. You're not allowed to be like that. So, well, we had good intentions as a community. We all came together and we wanted to help this woman, right? Yeah, but you were stupid to do that. Do you not see that you were stupid to do that? It's not a good thing that you've got this caring, amazing, giving heart. We've all got the same kind of heart, right? But we all keep them under different kinds of levels of restraint. So when you're saying, oh, well, we just rushed to help her, well, then you make perfect targets for cons, don't you? And grifters, because you're just so ready to jump in to help people. You hear a story, you have it like half vetted, go along with it, and then even when you find out that you've been scammed, right? You don't want to think, how can I stop this? Or how can I not let this happen again? Or how can I not fall into this trap again? What was I doing wrong? There's none of that. It's all just, well, the community came together and we did a beautiful thing. I cannot handle toxic positivity and I cannot handle emotional thinkers. I cannot, all right? I think I'm getting to the end of this catch-up gossip. What else has there been? All right, so there's been a load of talk about Benny Keys. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? So there's a lot of people saying how bad he is. I'm going to keep my opinion to myself, right? But for the drama and the entertainment value of all of this, he has been hilarious, okay? In being a thorn in the sides of the tragedy pimps. It's been hilarious to watch from a objective, distant standpoint, all right, with no emotional attachment to this story, because if you do get emotionally attached to this story, I mean, it's just a whole amazing fucking sorry saga of hell, right? You couldn't dream it up. I'm surprised fucking directors aren't here in the flipping, hiding in the within the subscribers, taking notes and taking the shit that's going on in some of these for storylines in movies, because this kind of shit you couldn't come up with yourself. They're insane, some of these storylines that are going on around us right now. I mean, there's just even too many to mention. There's too many to mention. There's a whole load of drama with billboards. Were they legit? Were they not? What else has there been? God, it's just a huge giant fiasco, and we're all here for the ride, chatting to each other and just observing all this crazy stuff go by. It's insane. I cannot believe that I found this place. I don't understand how I found this place and how all this stuff just goes on, and it's just so big, right? But then most of the rest of the world has no idea that this part of the world is going on. It's insane, because some of the shit that goes on, you just like legit scratching your head or thinking, this would never happen in my life, or I would never do that in my real life. But these guys, they're all like larger than life characters, narcissistic. They don't give two fucks about nothing, and there always has to be the underdog, and Benny Keys is the underdog. He is the one that's calling these fuckers out, right? And they need calling out. The stuff they're doing is shady, and because he's not your typical good guy himself, he does get a lot of flack, and you hear a lot of shit said about him. But these tragedy pimps and this whole, there does need to be some healthy opposition for it all. There does. And I'm on the healthy opposition side, because the behaviour of those lot, I can not condone at all, ever. They are over the line, boundaryless. No morals, no ethics, no sensitivity, none whatsoever. They are not the kind of personalities that you need in true crime. And, you know, according to them, they're the leaders of true crime. And they're the ones that are going to get shit solved, find kids, find missing people, solve murders. And we just need to sit back super chat them and shut the fuck up, basically. Any criticism, you support Don Wells, you're a Don Wells sympathiser. Any criticism, you support sex offenders. That's what you get. So, observing all of this, it is a psychologist's wet dream, right? For somebody like me that is consumed and obsessed with human behaviour, there is so much for me to drink in, observe, sit back and watch. I mean, I can't believe there's no case studies or social studies being done down here, because it is amazing the things that you get to see, and it's real. It's not put on, it's real, right? It's real. It's insane. What other drama has been going on? I can't think of anything right now. What other stuff's been going on? Touched on the RDA. Can't think of anything. I need to look at like Wendy V's playlist to see what video she's had so I can remind myself. But this has been going on long enough. It's like 35 minutes. I've been jabbering away for. I do miss you all. I love seeing you all in the comment section. I hope you're all getting ready for a lovely happy holidays and Merry Christmas and stuff like that. I don't think of anything else to say. I can't think of anything. I'm going to go now and get Cleo ready, get her jumper on because it's cold, and we're going to go and meet my eldest one off the bus that is getting on for that time. And hopefully I will see you all in the next video that will make some kind of sense, or be, you know, better than this one. Put together better than this one. It's kind of just thrown together. I don't know what I'm on about. So love lots, and until next time, bye for now.